So, an interview with Tommy Robinson by Avi Yemeni. Both present media worker, ex-Rebel media. Both brilliant, at their jobs. But of course, Tommy is our number one patriot. I'm sure Avi's the number one Aussie patriot. Surely people see him in similar light. I just wanted to say before this gets going, because it's going to take me a while until I get out on the road and do things to get up to 1,000 subs so I can sell merch on my website. I'll be selling t-shirts like this, but it will have my logos on it, facts only facts, hats. And I've got a bit of a fetish for beautiful jackets, just like Tommy. Yeah, I love my jackets. So there'll be jackets, hoodies, all sorts of winter gear, and then obviously when spring and summer comes, things will change. But until then, enjoy.
It doesn't matter where I go, I'm not alone. There's an army of people built behind me. Tommy Robinson is not a person. It's
Oh yeah, and by the way, my vape has broken, and I've got an emergency tobacco. So if I smoke, I smoke.
an idea. And they've tried crushing it for 15 years. I'm not special. They built it because of the way the public are feeling silenced, yeah? And when they're chanting, so they're in the streets of every time chanting Tommy Robinson, they're not specifically chanting for me. That's a chant of resistance. It's a chant of symbol of resistance because we're not backing down to you. So if the Prime Minister, the Home Secretary, and the world's and their globalist corporate media, which is weaponised, are trying to build a picture of me to have me locked up, what's the outcome going to be? I'm probably getting locked up. That's terrifying for me, bruv. It's not just about going to jail. It's not just about missing my family. I'm potentially getting killed in the prison system, or I'm going to be put on a cell for solitary confinement for years to be mentally destroyed and broken. But the public is still awake to it. So the support is there. So I know I'm not alone. I know that's not going to solve the problem. If they think they've seen trouble now, wait till they lock me up.
Over the weekend, the world watched on as riots broke out across the United Kingdom. Joining us now is the man being blamed by almost everyone from the Prime Minister down. Tommy Robinson, thanks for joining. Firstly, for people that don't know, you know, we're watching here or seeing it on the news, even here in Australia. People around the world are watching it. We don't understand how we've gone to this place where there's literally riots on the streets of the UK, across the UK.
For 30 years, Muslim gangs in every town and city that has a Muslim community have had free reign to rape their way through our community. And that's not me saying it. Government reports in Telford, in Rochdale, in Manchester, in Oldham, in Oxford, in Rotherham have all said the police were fully aware that these gangs were torturing and kidnapping young children as young as 10 and 11. They were sexually destroying them, raping them, torturing them, and the police knew about it. So there's been anger and resentment growing for years, yeah? Because crimes have not been dealt with that are coming from the Islamic community. There's a two-tier policing system. Now, this two-tier policing become part of British vocabulary since October 7th. It's something I've spoke about since my start of my activism, 20 years, yeah? Because I've seen it, because I've grown up in a town that's Muslim-dominated. So I see the way the police act towards them. They're scared of them. I've seen it. Since October 7th, Hamas and pro-Palestinian supporters have taken to our capital streets, overtaken the streets, called for the gassing of Jews, and they've not been arrested. They've literally stood on the streets and in mosques across this country. The British public have watched it, and none of them have been nicked. Now, if someone says something derogatory on Facebook, they get their door kicked off, yeah, by the police. So everyone's looking, going, hold on a minute. They're supporting prescribed terrorist organisations. That's a 14-year prison sentence. Why are they not being arrested? So if the whole country has watched this failure, the Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, lost her job for coming out and saying there's a two-tier policing system in our capital city. Why are they not enforcing the law against Islamic extremists? Why are they allowed to do this? Why are Jews having to hide? Why are Jews being persecuted? Why are Jews being told by our police leaders, you look too Jewish, you can't walk the street? Yeah, that's basically what's been happening. So there's been a two-tier policing system. Everyone's watched it. I was arrested in a high-profile case where the police come up to me and said that my presence may have caused alarm and distress. Not the presence of Hamas ISIS, Al-Qaeda, any other terrorist organisations where we have, in Britain, we have 40,000 terrorists on a watch list, yeah? Muslim jihadists. They're not a problem, okay? I'm the problem. So I was arrested, I was banned from my capital city for 6 months, and they didn't just arrest me, they pepper sprayed me, violently attacked me in front of the world's media, and then they prosecuted me and said I was in the wrong. Now this all come out in court, everything they done was unlawful, and I won the case. But everyone's watched all of this, yeah? So as we're watching this, we then see riots spark in Harehill. The police come in and they take children from a house, because in the UK, if children are in danger, we have a system that protects the kids. If they're bad parents, if they're not at home, if a child has a fractured skull, which this child did, and it looks like they've been violently attacked or something to do with parenting, then straight away they take the children to protect them. They went in, they took the children from a Romanian family, Romanians and Muslims, that evening set fire to the whole estate, they burned buses, and the images that everyone in Britain watched was the police running away. They didn't come out on horses, didn't come out with dogs,
Pussies.
they didn't do anything. They literally legged it. They left them on the streets and they run. So that's what people watched. Then, a day after that, some Muslims are arrested in Manchester Airport. They're getting searched. And then they violently beat up. Now, all the footage the public got was the police officer kicking the Muslim in the head when he was on the floor. Now, from that video, again, it was used by the usual suspects to pump a race narrative around the country. Muslims in their thousands went to the police station, attacking the police station. Where were the police? Nowhere to be seen, hiding inside, no dogs, no riot shields, no horses, yeah? Then the police decide to criminally investigate their police officer, and they make a big statement, because the Muslims across the country were basically telling them, we're going to burn this country if you don't let the Muslims who have been arrested go. The police release the criminals, and then they investigate their own police officer. Now, the next day, after they've done this, someone leaks the video of what the Muslim's done before he gets kicked in the head. He violently beats up 3 police officers from behind. It's George Floyd all over again, yeah? Throwing your own police officer to be criminally charged. If this video wasn't released, that officer would be put in prison. Reason, not because he's done anything wrong, but to keep the violent minority from the Islamic community happy. Now, people are watching all of this play out. The message that's been sent to the British public,
Just the
he who riots,
population.
he who's violent,
Look at
and
the
he who's the
trouble
loudest is who we're listening to. Yeah? And other than that, and then when the British have come out to protest, whether it be on Armistice Day in support of our armed forces, they're met with riot shields and they're beaten with batons. English women are thrown on the floor. They set dogs on them. Yeah. So this is what everyone's watching this in the country. Yeah. So tensions are building. They're not just building over that. Jihad, jihad, jihad. Our culture's under attack. It's disappearing. We're losing our identity. And the whole time we're losing our identity, they're filling every hotel in every town with hostile men who are hostile, violent, aggressive, sexual predators. So our women no longer can walk the street, kids don't feel safe, and the whole time they're doing that, you try and talk about it, you're far right and you're racist. So what happened in the build-up to this, I organised two massive demonstrations because I knew public feeling was growing, yeah? And I've always tried to harness that anger. So I harnessed it, and we put on our own stewards, our own security. We held a massive event. Not just massive, it's the biggest gathering of patriots Britain has ever seen, yeah? In our capital city. We had a celebration of being British. Now, why are they upset? They're upset because we managed to unite the races and the religions. The diversity in our crowd was massive. Yeah, we had everyone there because we sent a message. You're dividing us. We unite, and we called it Uniting the Kingdom. We welcome everybody. We're an embracing nation. If you come to this country and you love it and you want to be part of it, you come in. We celebrate that, and we're grateful for the migrants that have come. But unfortunately, one section's come into this country, they haven't declared love or support for it, they've declared war on it. They're not here to integrate or assimilate, they're here to dominate and subjugate. And we've had enough of it. People have had enough of not feeling safe. And then, in amongst all of this, 3 young children, 9 were stabbed, and you have to understand this is in a community of Southport, which is a rough area, and a young man who's 17 years old has gone in. He's held one girl by the head, because I've spoke to her uncle, stabbed her in the face, yeah? Oh. He's gone on to butcher about 10 kids and 2 adults. I mean, butcher them, yeah? So the uncle I spoke to, and when you understand this, he said, mate, understand, I'm one family. I've got my niece. She's been stabbed in the face. Her face is gone. Yeah, she's lost her bicep. Right, that's one side of my family. On the other side of my family, my cousin's goddaughter is dead. She's 7 years old. 7 times he stabbed her. She's dead. So 3 kids are dead. Yeah. So imagine the feeling in Britain, but not just in Britain. Imagine the feeling in Southport, where everyone knows everyone. Close-knit community. And the problem we have, Avi, the lies, the media continually lie. Now, what are we told by our government, our media? We're told a mental health incident. A mental health incident. Now, why don't we believe them? Anyone watching this, go on the computer now and research Russell Square attack, London. Yeah? I'll tell you what happens in that attack. A Muslim goes into his mosque and says, I want to kill non-Muslims. Yeah? What's his mosque do? They don't ring. They receive funding. Every mosque receives funding as a process of prevent from the government to report people when they show extremist views. They didn't do that. They sat and they prayed for him. What did he do when he left the mosque? He went into Russell Square in London. He stabbed 7 people. He killed an American tourist. In between each stabbing, he screams, Allah Akbar. What did the government and the media tell us? They told us it was a mental health incident. An 80-year-old pensioner had her head chopped off in her garden by another man screaming, Allah Akbar. What were we told? We were told it was a matter of mental health. How come it's always Muslims? How come it's not? How come that, like the Russell Square attacker, travelled from a Muslim area? He didn't go out and have an episode of mental health and kill any Muslims. Yeah, he went to an area of non-Muslim tourists and butchered them, screaming "Allah Akbar." So I'm sorry to the media. We don't believe you. We don't trust you. Yeah. So when we're told, and the public are told, after the butchering of these children, it's an episode of mental health, they come out within an hour and said it's not terrorism. How could you possibly know that? How can you possibly know that? You haven't even investigated it. How are you telling us what it is and what it isn't? Yeah. So people don't believe them. So frustration's there, anger's building. We're watching English people be attacked by our police forces up and down the country for trying to raise legitimate concerns, and the government are just coming out saying far right, far right, far right. So that evening, all local men in that community came out in anger, and there were mobs of them, and they were met with the police, and there were clashes with the police. And if you listen to what they're saying, in all these demonstrations, keep our children safe, keep our children safe. That's not a far-right slogan. It's a slogan of fearful British families, British men, hard-working men. You've brought people into our country. No one can trust you anymore. We don't trust what you're saying. Do you know what the media said when people were waiting to find out the motive? They're managing the situation. That's what the police said. Managing what the public are told. Managing. Playing it down. 3 days before, you didn't even tell the public about the stabbing of a soldier. You played that down as well. So why are our borders open? Why are our women being raped up and down the country? But these are the things that led to what you're witnessing. And then, when the locals come out, that night, it was the English Defence League. It didn't make sense. It does make sense now. They were building up, because we had built, Avi, the foundations for the biggest cultural revolution this country's seen. Now, the world was watching. We had nearly 1 million people watching live our event, 100,000 people there. They know, and the globalists know, and the people who are weakening our nations know, this doesn't just have the ability to spread in Britain, yeah? This has the ability to catch fire in Europe, in the entire West. People are needing our identity. They need something. We were building something peaceful, totally peaceful, and giving people back that sense of identity. Obviously, they're scared. Looking at the figures of people who are listening to us, remember, they used to be able to do what they're doing now. Tell people Tommy Robinson instigated riots. They just believe it. If it wasn't for X, these lies are just taken as a matter of fact. Far-right, extremists, racists, they've done it for decades. They've done it for decades. But now they're actually saying I've instigated riots. They're building me up as a terrorist.
But to a serious note, because I have seen the conspiracy theories from all corners of the internet. You know, we're talking about the far left, the woke far left, the new woke far right, and obviously the jihadi influences that we see online. They're all pushing this same narrative that this is actually just a Jewish conspiracy. The Jews have nothing to do with it, but for some reason, Tommy Robinson is running it and he's working for the Jews. What do you say to that claim?
I say to those people, yeah, what the fuck have you sacrificed? How many prison cells have you been in? You have done nothing. You do nothing, yeah? Yet you throw these insults at everyone else. It's pretty frustrating because I'm under attack from everywhere, yeah? What sort of Zionist conspiracy is that? If I'm working for the Zionists, who are the ones controlling all this, why am I facing this state persecution? Why have I done a year of solitary confinement? Why have I been made bankrupt through the courts? Why am I about to be taken from my family again? I'll tell you why, because I'm standing up for what's right. You cowards are the ones that are probably getting paid by Iran, by Qatar, by all these countries. Yous are the fuckers that are, excuse my French, you're the people aligning with the jihadists. You're the people aligning with the people who wish to subjugate your entire nation. You're the people, not me. I know they want to make me the fool guy. I know they're going to try and set an example by me. They're not setting an example by any of you mugs. Then you ain't done nothing. They're not bothered by you. You have a street protest, you get 50 people there. 50 people, 50 other inbred clowns come along. Yeah, you're too ashamed, most of you, to even show where you stand. Well, we're not. On the 27th of July, 100,000 people, no face coverings, singing proudly, identifying themselves proudly, standing up for what's right with pride, not hiding behind fake names, not hiding behind masks. Yeah, like every one of the demonstrations I see from these so-called far-right nationalists who want to shout me down. You're all cowards. You're all absolute cowards. And I've had enough of it, and so is everyone else. And you're bringing no change. And you're not going to bring change. You see the people who are going to bring change? The people who unify everyone. Unify everyone, yeah? And unify everyone against the biggest threats to our nation. Communism, Marxism, and Islam. They're the biggest threats, yeah? And all those three are together. And Nazism, all those 4 points are together. They're all aligned on this. They've all joined. They've all joined.
But why are they sharing the exact same conspiracy? And you can go online and you can see it, X post after X post from those three groups. They're pitting Christians against Muslims, and they're using Tommy Robinson to do so. Why are they all sharing that conspiracy?
Where's the money coming from? Iran, Qatar? We have Iranian proxy armies. All of the influencers now that are either converting or pushing that narrative. How much are they being paid? Yeah, it's a genuine question. Like Sneeko. Sneeko's gay. Sneeko, you're gay, bruv. Yeah? You're gay, but yet you're going to Mecca and you're doing all these promotional videos for people to convert to Islam, and you'd be dead if you actually come out and accepted who you are. So all these people are getting large amounts of money. Yeah? Oh, that's what I believe. And the other reason, they hate the Jews. I don't hate the Jews. I don't work for the Jews. Israel doesn't come first to me. Yeah? England comes first to me. England does. Before anything, England does. Right. But I don't hate the Jews. And I also see, you see if Israel's wiped out. You see on 7th of October when they killed 1,400 Jews. Look how emboldened and how empowered they were in every Western nation. What do you think would actually happen if those surrounding totalitarian Sharia-driven shitholes got what they wanted and they beat Israel and they enslaved Israel? What do you think happens? They just stop on Israel, do you? Because they've already come out and told us what's next. It's us, it's Europe. They've had this goal for 1,400 years. Israel's in their way. That's how I see it.
Speaking of influencers that have converted, you did get unlikely support at first by one Mohammed Andrew Tate, who came out. It was a very weird post because it was kind of this mental gymnastics. He was saying he agreed with the premise of everything you're saying, but then he deleted it after there was massive backlash from within, I think, the Muslim influencer community, the jihadi influence community, who condemned him for daring to stand up for British people to be nationalistic or to stand up for British values. And then he went and shared the Nick Fuentes post where he was basically saying it's all a big Zionist conspiracy, that there is these riots and counter riots in the UK. What's going on there? How do you read that situation?
I read it that Andrew Tate has put himself in a very difficult position. That's how I read it. Do I think Andrew Tate believes Muhammad was the messenger of God? No, I don't believe that at all. I believe Andrew Tate was cornered. I believe when he was booted off of all social media, the governments of America and Britain and all Western European nations come down on him. I believe he was in a corner. I believe he was trying to survive. That's what I believe. Yeah. Do I believe he believes all the teachings of Islam? No, I don't believe he does. But now, once you've said that, where do you go from there? Because you talk about escaping the matrix, you're now stuck in the slavery of Islam, because if he was to come out and actually say, do you know what, I don't believe in this shit. I don't believe Mohammed's perfect. He's a wrong one. Yeah, if he was to say that, they want to kill him more than they want to kill me. So I think he's in a bit of a difficult position. Yeah. So I think that Andrew Tate, I know him. He believes in nation state. He believes in nationalism. He believes in patriotism, and this is what he's trying to say. But you can't say that and be a follower of Islam, because they don't believe in borders. Islam believes in one world caliphate. Yeah, doesn't believe British people should have Britain. It can't believe that. Yeah, so he has beliefs that he believes in that go contrary to Islamic teachings, and he's a bit in a difficult position. So I believe, and I'm never. People always try to get me to slam Andrew Tate. I like Andrew and I like Tristan, and I have respect for both of them. Okay, that doesn't mean you agree with everything everyone does. People say, "Oh yeah, but he done this." You can't disagree with every friend on every principle or morality of what they do. So there's good and bad in everything. Andrew's
credit where credit is due. Credit where credit is due. I think, and certainly since he's reverting or whatever you call it, I think day by day I've grown to dislike him more. But the one thing I give him credit for is he's never thrown you under the bus, and he's copped it for it.
He's copped it massively for it. And I've copped it massively on the same side, yeah? I've copped it.
Yeah, but your whole life, your whole existence has been copping it. I think for Andrew, he was living in this position where he converted to Islam. He got accepted by the billions. He's got this new following. He was saying all the right things, but there was just one thing, and that was his friendship with Tommy Robinson that kept annoying. Was the first red flag for the jihadi influencers that started to condemn him. Now I see day by day more of them are condemning him because they're realising what I think you realised on day one, that he's about as Muslim as you are.
I just think, I don't want to put him in a difficult position, man. Tate's a chess player. Maybe he was playing chess. Maybe he made for the first time.
Yeah, I think someone checkmated him on that one, though.
Well, I think what I said. I wish he'd have spoke to me before he done it. I wish he would have done. But I also understand. I've been in a position of pressure. I also cannot imagine at that time of what he was thinking. Whether he was scared. I know everyone likes to put on the front and say they're not. Who knows, man? Who knows? But Andrew Tate, come back. Be the ultimate top G. Tell everyone the truth about Islam. Tell them what you found out during the time. Stop listening to those influential voices coming out of Dubai because they're not your mates. I don't believe for one second Andrew Tate believes in the teachings of Islam.
Does he believe in the other nonsense that he spews lately? Because I watched old Andrew Tate in the back of a taxi talking about jihadi attacks, and he was right on point. But then Andrew Tate has made it a mission of his to stand firmly against Israel because he thinks everything every other jihadi influencer believes. It feels...
Again, but who knows the reasons why he does it? Who knows the reasons why any of them do
Are you saying the top G might not be the top G after all, and he is stuck in the matrix?
When you've got the money, you see, this is a fact. Qatar, to the tune of £770 million, they've spent pushing Islam in Europe, majority in France, yeah? So they've spent the money, and the way they used to do it was to fund people to go on the streets and set up dawah stalls and go into communities and try and convert people. So they'd fund mosques, they'd fund madrasas, they'd be building this Islamic spread through Europe, yeah? And that's where the money was at. And now with social media, the way to reach the public isn't through the streets like that. It's through this. So if they can bring anyone on board who has an influence over a section of a community or people, like the British youth, the American youth, then that's far worth more money for them. So if you look, and all of a sudden, if you just look on TikTok, all these TikTokers then say, I saw some black girl who's a famous TikToker, and she said, so with all that's happening in Palestine, I decided I picked up the Quran. And how beautiful, and I'm sitting there watching this thing, just thinking, I wonder how much they paid her for that. I wonder how much Nico got paid. I wonder if there's a business transaction with Andrew Tate. I wonder if all of these things, Andrew Tate's very open about how he is. Andrew Tate's a businessman, and Andrew Tate wants to make money for himself. He's always said that, yeah? So I asked the questions, I've looked at lots of things, and just thought, you know what? What's going on? And the influencers that are taking the side on that side, they're the ones throwing accusations at me. There is no one and no amount of money and could ever tell me what to say about anything. Yeah, that's my personality. No one's ever telling me what to say. So I don't do well with authority or bosses. Ezra can tell you that. So Ezra can tell you that when I work for him. The reason I speak up about Israel is because I understand jihad. I understand Islam, and I understand what it must be like to be sitting in a country surrounded by those leaderships who wish to annihilate, rape, and enslave your daughters. Yeah, I get it. Okay, I get it. Does that mean Israel's perfect? No. Does it mean the British government are perfect? No. Is the American government perfect? No. None of them are. Yeah, and I think that the same people who are out to destroy me now with this massive attack are the same people that probably wanted to assassinate Donald Trump. They're the same people that have censored Facebook, the same people who have censored every social media platform, the same people right now that are sitting around a table having a meeting to decide how they're going to get rid of Elon Musk. Yeah, it's the same people. So are they all Jews? No. Right?
Yes, I heard the conspiracy. Apparently the Jews also tried to kill Donald Trump, who literally is our one last remaining true friend. We've all seen that you've been doxxed, you and your family, on holiday. How is everyone doing to begin with?
Kids were worried. Daughter's been up all night, messaging her mum, saying she's scared, reading comments online of people wanting to look for us, wanting to rape them. So for little kids to read that sort of stuff, the fact that the Daily Mail, where's the news story? I don't understand the news story. I'm on a pre-arranged family holiday to take my children away, and they've come and gave the exact location and destination of where I am. I don't know if you've seen, Abby, Muslims have been making videos online telling people to head here. The address for the hotel has been put everywhere. I don't know what they thought it would be like with the other guests in the hotel, but when I went down for breakfast this morning, I'd say at least 4 or 5 English men come up to me saying, we've got you if anything happens here. These are family men with their children. Yeah, don't worry, we're all watching. This shouldn't have happened, never should have happened. And the problem is that the headlines in the paper are a total lie. I'm working through my videos now. In every video I've made, in the build up to our massive rally on June the 1st, our massive rally of 100,000 people on July 27th, both of which were totally peaceful with no arrests, with no trouble. Both of them, but then all the videos I've made over the weekend when these demonstrations are going on, in every one of them, I've appealed for calm, pointed out that violence against police officers is totally unacceptable and wrong. They're innocent, hard-working people who've got families at home going out to earn a living, and their hands are tied behind their back. So I've gone out of my way to direct people and tell people to be calm, but at the same time, I've understood their anger. Why they're angry. I've spoke about why they're angry and had conversations about it, but in every way I've directed them for peace, saying that actually we need a peaceful revolution, not a violent one. You're going to undo the good work and take away the opportunity for legitimate concerns to be heard by acting like thugs and hooligans. And I've done that in every step. But if you read the papers, they say that I've instigated the riots from my Sun Lounger. And from that headline, every other newspaper, Good Morning Britain this morning, Sky News, BBC, every single one of them are having conversations where they're just speaking about it now as a matter of fact that Tommy Robinson's instigated all these riots. They've put me up as the face. They've built me up. And Abby, I knew this was coming. From the first night of trouble in Southport after the 3 children were murdered, that first night of trouble, when they come out and they made a statement saying it's the English Defence League, straight away I sat back and thought, there hasn't been an English Defence League for a decade. There is no English Defence League. So for the police to make a statement and the government to make a statement blaming an organisation that doesn't even exist, so I knew they're sticking it on my plate straight away that night. They're pumping it. They've got politicians saying it, the government is saying it, heads of police are saying it. Tommy Robinson, Tommy Robinson, Tommy Robinson. The reality is the total opposite. But the reality doesn't matter. When they control the narrative, if they get rid of X, I'm finished, I'm gone.
For the viewer, what's a parting message for the viewers around the world, people watching what's unfolding? Where is this going to go? And are you going to be okay?
I'll always be okay. The worst thing the government can do, yeah? And I believe in my cause that much, yeah? So if they think putting me in jail and allowing me to be attacked or possibly killed is their answer, that will be the most galvanising moment for a movement in this country. That will be their undoing. So go ahead and do it, yeah? I'm not. The message I send the whole time is we ain't backing down. We're not stopping. I'm not going to stop. If you think threatening prison, if you think sending me to prison is going to work, you're simply, in the last 5 days, yours of Keir Starmer, you've created thousands of Tommy Robinsons. Thousands of them. What our Prime Minister should have been a unifying moment. He should have come out and said, listen, we understand you're angry. We want to listen to your anger.
Liar.
We're going to condemn violence on the non-Muslim side and the Muslim side. Yeah? But he didn't. He come out and said, you're all far right. We don't care about what's gone on. That's what his words were. We don't care. All the kids get murdered. We don't care. We're going to smash you with the law. You're all going to jail. Not just, and what he said is, not just the people committing violence, but those who think they can flame it. Yeah, he was talking. I think he was directing me. Why flame it? Do you mean sharing the truth, Kia? Because I'm going to continue to share the truth. Even if you put me in jail, I'll continue to share the truth.
How does it feel?
Yeah.
How does it feel? Because everybody watching that, I've seen online, everybody knows that he was talking to you. How does it feel to have the Prime Minister of Great Britain looking down the camera and saying, I am going to get you?
Truthfully, scary. Truthfully, yeah, terrifying. Terrifying, because I don't know what they're going to do. The only bit of encouragement I've got is I know the public are with me. It doesn't matter where I go, I'm not alone. There's an army of people built behind me. Tommy Robinson is not a person, it's an idea. And they've tried pushing it for 15 years. I'm not special. They built it because of the way the public are feeling silenced, yeah? And when they're chanting, so they're in the streets of every time chanting Tommy Robinson. Not specifically chanting for me. That's a chant of resistance. It's a chant of symbol of resistance because we're not backing down to you, yeah? And I've continued to tell people to behave peacefully, to behave responsibly, to show pride in a professional and dignified manner. I've continued to do that. Not once have I not. I don't know how they'd be able to lock me up with a fair court case, but I've never been in a fair court case. I don't get a jury. I've never had a jury. So if the Prime Minister, the Home Secretary, and the world's and their globalist corporate media, which is weaponised, are trying to build a picture of me to have me locked up, what's the outcome going to be? I'm probably getting locked up. That's terrifying for me, bruv. It's not just about going to jail. It's not just about missing my family. I'm potentially getting killed in the prison system, or I'm going to be put on a cell for solitary confinement for years to be mentally destroyed and broken. But the public is still awake to it. So the support is there. So I know I'm not alone. I know that's not going to solve the problem. If they think they've seen trouble now, wait till they lock me up for nothing. It's like, I haven't done anything. I've already got a battle, Abby. I face 2 years in prison when I get back for a film. It's 2024. I made a film. They're not denying anything's true and false in the film. They just don't want the public to have seen the film. And they probably thought, giving this injunction will stop the public seeing it. 32 million people in a week. 32 million people in a week. Of course they're pissed off. Of course they're pissed off. Their entire reputation of their weapon, the judiciary, is being shown to the whole world. They think I'm on trial. They're on trial, not me.
Last quick one. I know you mentioned before that you pointed out that Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, condemned one side, said he didn't care what the other side were doing. People would ask, could you do that? Can you condemn those that are rioting?
I saw a video of an Asian man, Muslim man, or a refugee walking out of a hotel, and some scumbag punching him. Just a bloke on his own. There's about 100 lads there, yeah? I thought, if I was there, I'd have knocked the bloke out myself, who punched him. If I'm watching that, I think, you bully bastard. What is that? That's not pride, yeah? I understand people are upset, but that is cowardice. So I condemn that. Acts of burning things, the stupidity of it, of the catching fires of different things, all of these things, I condemn them all. But the problem is, this weekend saw gangs of Muslims armed with weapons in every town and city. There's video after video after video that we're sharing that are now getting millions of views of English men, innocent English men being beaten, having their heads caved open, hammers, everything. None of it's in the mainstream media. So if it wasn't for X, no one even know this has happened. All they'd know is that far right, many of them just mums and dads, are causing mayhem. They're not accepting that there's any legitimate frustration and anger within the British public about their failed policies. All of this comes down to their failed policies. They've continued to flood this nation with hostile men who have continued to rape their way through it, and yet they're supposed to just celebrate it and call it diversity when women are getting raped and murdered across our country by these migrants. People have had enough, and that ain't me justifying it, but they want to try and portray that it's me justifying it. So I rely, Abby, as much on anyone like you, on anyone watching this, to make sure you magnify my message, make sure that you correct any accusations that I've been instigating riots, because I haven't. I never have.
Well, that was Tommy Robinson, interviewed by Avi Yemeni. Moving. Tommy is now in prison, of course. He's been in there since late October. He's been in there, what? He's been in just over 2 months. He's got another 16 to go. I think he went to Belmarsh first. He has been moved. He's not in Belmarsh anymore. Let's just hope he's safe. Let's hope he's working out every day, getting stronger and fitter, eating decent grub, safe. And he's safe. And if he's surrounded like Englishmen who will have his back, he'll be alright. Anyway, only facts, media, and out.